turned this $75 frame into an awesome cart. And with a little child labor, I made $500 profit. Where to begin? My go-to is classified ads. Or hey, check out other awesome videos showing how to make all kinds of carts from cheap material. This frame came with the Predator 212, so I knew I was going to have to jump on it fast. Went to go pick it up, and what would you know? It doesn't even have a rear tire, rim, or chain, and a couple other components. Now, that wasn't going to be a deal breaker because if you do know the Predator 212s, that is worth more than the entire price of this cart alone. As far as tools go, just pick up the basic screwdriver, socket set. Now, I also have drills and impact drivers that just helps out, an angle grinder, and hey, a welder. At the first of this project, I wasn't expecting to have to do any welding. Well, you'll see in a minute, it's gonna come in handy. And if your 8-year investment pays off, this step's an easy one. Start by taking everything off, and I've got two huge pieces of advice. The first, take a ton of pictures. I guarantee when you go back to reassembly, you're not gonna remember if the spindle's on the left or the right. That will save you so much time and headache. Second, every nut, screw, bolt, and item that you take off, put that together. That is regardless if you are replacing all the fasteners. Sprocket, 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 sprocket. So that I wasn't waiting on parts, I went ahead and ordered the couple that I knew I was going to need. Now it came with this sprocket, which is awesome. Yes, I painted it, but it was missing the chain. Now go-karts typically only come with about 2 sizes of chain. You got a number 35 and then a number 420. Now yes, there's like a ton of others, and you got 40, 41, but those actually match 420. Regardless, how do you know what size you have? Lots of times the sprockets actually have it stamped on what size it is. And if you can't find anything, just pick up a pair of even cheap calipers and you can measure the pitch distance. Now for the other item, it was actually the rim and tire. And this is a 3/4 inch bore. So that was my starting point. I just searched a 3/4 inch bore, 6-inch rim. Now, where did I get the 6-inch from? Every tire, it's got a lovely set of numbers. This one, 13, 5.00-6. The -6, the last number, that is the tire diameter. If we take a look here, 6 inches, perfect.
That's what she said.
And if you looked at the tires, they were pretty much all shot, and I wanted to get matching, so I just searched that size tire. As my cheap laborer was taking off the floor pan, he may or may not have stripped 2 of the screws. Now there's many ways to skin the cat on this one, but since I told you to pick up a welder, let's use it. Just grab an oversized bolt, weld that to the top of the screw, then you got a fresh bolt to be able to undo the fastener. Okay, well, now that we got parts everywhere, don't get to painting quite yet, because you will want to make sure that any modifications that need to be done to the frame are done. I mean, nothing worse than having to grind off your beautiful paint job. While disassembly, I noticed the tubing was actually cut back here. And so I went to the Google, and I was clearly able to see that this tubing went up, elbowed over, and then there was another piece going up to connect to this top piece. And guess what? I don't really care to have that extra bar, so I'm just gonna continue chopping it off. I'm gonna fill it all with another bar that's smaller, and then some round bar, fill it all in with weld, and no one's the wiser. Except all of you watching this that now know exactly what should be there. Pinholes in a weld? No bueno. So I ground that down and filled it in with a nice bead, and that is all done with one of the cheapest welders out there, the Titanium 125, not sponsored, just showing you right there that you don't need an expensive welder to get a dang good looking weld. Now the frame overall was in pretty good shape, and so I'm actually gonna keep it black, and that also makes it so I do not need a primer over it. Just a pretty little top coat to make it shine. And since we were already priming those, hey, why not throw in the rims? And hey, I'm just gonna skip right over here by taking off the engine shroud and pull cord. Super easy, just a couple bolts. let's throw those in as well. I was also good with the camo trim pieces, but my boy is full on McLaren, so we met in the middle and he got his McLaren colors. Yes, I went back and told him the fluorescent orange, awesome color choice. Now on to the fun part of reassembly. If you took my advice in the beginning, it should go pretty simple. And if all goes as planned, you'll only have 1 or 2 bolts left over that you can't remember where they went. All right, tighten it up. 12 on bottom, 10 on top, 10 on top. Do not paint the brake disc. It works off friction. Just don't do it. This is not the same size engine that came on the Kart originally. Originally it had a little 100cc. It came with a 212, so of course the mounting's different, and I'm already kicking myself for already telling you before you paint to make all the changes. There's actually not going to be any new welding. I just need to drill out some new holes, and in reality I'm drilling out slots, and that's just going to save you a ton when we go to adjust the chain tension. So trust me, drill out 2 slots. You already have an angle grinder like I told you to pick up. Use the cutoff wheel to actually make those slots, and then now we can go back to reassembly. Since we're back here with the engine, let's actually hook up the throttle cable. Now we'll want to put in the pedal and start the linkage up there first. It's easily done by taking off the air filter with 2 10mm nuts. Loosening this other 10mm screw up on top so then the linkage actually moves freely back and forth. Send the cable and sheathing through this first hole. Send just the cable through this rear one, tighten that down. Tighten down the sheathing. Add a return spring. I guarantee the chain will need to be modified with the number of links. Note, at this point the engine is actually not tightened down. It's just to give me a rough estimate of the number of links that I will need. Thus, that is why I added slots. So then once I get this, then I can actually slide it back and forth to get that perfect tension. Now my boy's been chomping at the bit every night to get out and finish this up, and finally to the trim pieces that make this thing pop. Now I've been asked many a times, how do you actually hook up the kill switch on a Predator 212? Now you can do the simple way of just splicing into it, but I actually don't use that switch, nor do I the oil sensor. Just trust me on that. With the oil sensor hooked up, it will cut out on you every time you turn a right corner. So you can take both of that off and just grab the one wire coming out of the engine and then the loop for the ground. Those are your 2 wires, hook them up, and there you got your kill switch. I already told you I picked up 4 tires, so we need to actually mount those. And yes, they have a ton of expensive tools, but in reality, all you need is 2 screwdrivers and a bar. Stick the bar through the middle and both screwdrivers up and under the bead, and then use that bar as leverage, going around the tire, and voila, it comes right off. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I probably made that look really easy, and that's just because I've done a ton of tires before. So the first time or 2 might take a little elbow grease, but you'll get it. Now, putting the tires back on is its own little trick within itself. Always suggest getting a new valve stem, and that is as easy as my boy almost being able to do it by himself. Then actually getting it on, I kind of taco it in, hold it down with 2 knees, and then I yet again use the screwdrivers as I slowly move around, popping it back into place. And a little round screwdriver and some lube helps that rim go right in. If you need bearings, now's the time. but these spun pretty great, so let's keep them. For the rear axle, I'm adding just a little sleeve for spacing, the key stock, and then now this makes it a true live axle. And now the final touch to make it official. Everyone always wants to know, how fast does it go and how much did it cost? This setup, it can go about 30 miles per hour. For the cost, in total, it was about 250 bucks. Now, I posted this car on the classifieds for 750 and already got a couple offers. But since my mini F1 driver loved it so much, I took the ad down and I'm gonna keep this one for a while.